All right, let's begin. So, let's just review the last point that's negaya is that time of the Beis Hamikdash, when there's Riyas Elikus, you can see godliness and experience godliness. So then a Yid can fulfill b'shleimus the Ava b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha. That's the Riyas Avodah, that's his bonus. It explained b'chol levavcha in simple language, maybe to use language we didn't use, but l'chol levavcha is he appreciates the beauty of Yiddishkeit, how it fills his heart, what a beautiful life it is. And in general, it's about looking at the beauty of the world and recognizing that the beauty of the world is all alikus, it's all reflections of Hashem's midas and attributes. That's b'chol levavcha. V'chol nafshecha is his bonus, that as beautiful as all as this is, including Yiddishkeit, although the Maimon doesn't speak about it in those terms, that's all the tzimtzum of alikus. That's a ha'ara, that's merely a reflection. Then there's Hashem's transcendent, infinite revelation, beyond creator, beyond the beauty of Yiddishkeit is the will, the transcendent godliness, the kedusha of Yiddishkeit. Kedusha means transcendent, removed, holiness, and that engenders a bittul, mesiras nefesh. When a Yid achieves this, and this is possible again, fully and resonantly, is that correct? When the Beis Hamikdash exists, then he's given the gift of B'chol Ma'itcha. And B'chol Ma'itcha is unlocking, and his experience, his hakara, his connection to the etzem hanefesh. In the words of the Maimon, das hanelem shebenefesh. And this is behemshach to the whole Maimon. This is the nitzitz cotton beide. This is the divine essence that's invested in every neshama. And this is granted to him when he goes through the avodah b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha. There are other levels to b'chol ma'itcha, as explained in other places in Chassidus, where that's an actual avodah, not so much a gift. But even here, although he describes it as a gift, but it's only given as a result of the toil, the avodah in b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha, as the Reimer explained. That's all bisman shebeis hamikdash hayakayim. Right? This is a reference to Hadasah. This is Hadasah. This is Malchus united with its source. Yidden, in simple language, Yidden united transparently with their source. But then there's the matzav of Esther. That here, because there lacks the avodah of b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha, and that's because they say sendu leira inu. We don't see our signs. God is present and is working and is granting and giving, but we don't see it and experience it because of the concealment of Golus. I say nu leira inu. Our signs and wonders we do not see, even though we are guided, but it's in a state of concealment with questions and concealment and pain. Achman al-Itzlan. So if there's not the avodah b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha, then obviously there can't be the avodah b'chol ma'itcha, which is only granted as a result of that avodah b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha, which is his bonus and appreciation and an experience. And then he said, explained at the end of the Ois of Ois Zion, that even though the etzem and neshama can't be revealed anyway, so what are we saying? What's the difference in zman hagolus? And in zman habayis? The difference is that even though the etzem and neshama is not revealed in consciousness, by that we mean cannot be understood, defined, not intellectually, not emotionally, but bisman habayis, The way it is revealed. It's not the state of concealment. The way it is revealed, not compromised, not filtered by mind and heart. But the person feels the etzem and neshama mizman habayis, the I am a Jew, in this very deep way. But at the time of Golus, even that's concealed. I hope that distinction is clear. The bizman habayis, so there is the hester, the etzem and neshama, and in brackets he added, but the essence is never revealed. The essence, by definition, cannot be apprehended, cannot be revealed, which means defined, not by the mind, not by the heart. This is true. But Bizman Habayis, it in its glorious state, Etzem and Neshama is revealed. In that sense, it's revealed in its own truth. The Etzem Evolikus, the Etzem and Neshama. But Bizman Habayis, Bizman Hagolos, that's concealed. And he hastened to ask in Oischas, but is this not the whole quote-unquote mile of Golos? The dafke in Zman HaGolos, when there's no revelation, there's no experience, and there's no answers, and the heart is longing and aching, that's then on the contrary. Nafshi. Nafshi means the essence of the neshama longs and pines for you. And Baal Shem Tov taught, Kein Ba'Kodesh Chazisicha, simple meaning is, I pine to behold you in holiness, where you're revealed in the Mishkan, from where David was fleeing, had been banished, being in the desert, the Midbar Yehuda. But Dafk in the Midbar Yehuda, the level of Yehuda, which is the Yehuda is this level, which is why we're called Yehudim, the essence of the neshama. In the Midbar Yehuda, that's where it fires. Dafke, the essence of the neshama is Dafke stirred. Dafkin Golus and Dafkin Helam Behester. So how can we say, how does it reconcile? But what we just said moments ago, that in the time of Golus, is Anoichi Haster Astes Panai, even that's a Neshama. Surely the Haster Astes is only on the conscious revelations of the Neshama. But the core essence, as expressed in Mesiras Nefesh and so on, is present more so in Golus. Halavai Ba'Kodesh Chazisicha, said the Baal Shem Tov, explaining the word Cain. Halavai, when I'm in holiness, I'm expressing the essence of my neshama as I do here in Midbar Yehuda, longing for you and pining and thirsting you. That's the question we left at the end of Vayehi. Right, we're clear with the question, everybody. Yeah? Need some feedback. If not, we'll try and explain it better. Guys on Zoom, I'm seeing... Not getting a response. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, Rabbi.
So let's look at the answer now. Second paragraph, Eisches. Standing again to the system of Purim Moishe.
What did you just say about the Purim Mimer?
As you said yesterday, Purim, the Purim in Meliubavitch. Yesterday and the day before, we're talking about the last few days. It's expressed in the Fabringins and the Maimorim. Okay. So what do we have to answer? We have to answer that there is a hester, a concealment on the etzem on the neshama, on the one hand, as stated at the end of Zion. On the other hand, as stated in Oischas, Dafkin Golos is Sambalachon Nafshi. So the answer is that in the Pnimius Anashama, which we speak about now, that's a Manashama, the whole Maim is talking about Pnimius, Ponim Va'acher, Hadasah, Esther, all of the dargas that he traced it through in the Maim till now. So in Pnimius Anashama Gufa itself, we identify two states. Yesh Oir Anashama, the words in italics, because that's one level. The light of the neshama. Now, light is a metaphor, of course. But what does he mean? He means revelation. Light illuminates, brings light to a place that was previously dark. Enlightenment, we call understanding enlightenment for good reason. So that's one level of Pnimius HaNeshama. Hainu means Pnimius HaNeshama hu ba'ofen shel oir v'gilui, that the Pnimius HaNeshama is in a state of unbridled, uncompromised revelation. That, he goes on to say, is Zman HaBayis. And he will further explain what that means. But I'll tell you now so that we don't get lost in the words. So we don't get lost in the words, I'll tell you now. That means that the etzem HaNeshama does not override mind and heart, but illuminates mind and heart. Now that needs to be understood, because I said before unequivocally that the mind and heart cannot contain the etzem HaNeshama. So we do not mean, therefore, by the statement just said, that we understand the etzem HaNeshama, we can define it and limit it to an emotional experience. Don't mean that. What is meant by this statement is that the mind and heart are driven by the etzem HaNeshama. What that means, it's hard to put this in words because the whole point is the etzem HaNeshama defies description. But the etzem HaNeshama fueling the mind and heart means that as he understands Torah and loves God, and even though by definition that is all rooted in the ego and the self, I understand, I feel. But when it's fueled, that's classically, but fueled by the etzem HaNeshama, the mind and heart has this deep sense and connection to that which I'm understanding. At the same time, the mind appreciates and is open to the beyond understanding. In this the kedusha of it all, the mind itself consciously is open to and inspired. And likewise, the heart, even though this is beautiful and he loves and is in awe, and love and awe are descriptive emotional states, and hence limited. But however, when driven by the etzem HaNeshama, then the love itself becomes paradoxically selfless love and selfless awe, which is a contradiction because love by definition is selfish and awe is I'm in awe. It's all rooted in the self. I think, therefore I am. It has to start with the yeshus. It has to start with the self. That's true when we speak of consciousness. We're not talking consciousness, we're talking etzem HaNeshama. So when the etzem HaNeshama is in the state of oir, which is Zman HaBayis, so then the mind and heart have this element of selflessness, even in the understanding and even in the feeling. And that needs to be appreciated, that contrast, that contradiction, because as just said seconds ago, the nature of the mind is selfish, and the nature of the heart is selfish. I understand, I feel, I love. B'chol levavcha means the heart is filled. Even b'chol nafshecha is I'm sacrificing. Still I. But in Zman HaBayis, the etzem HaNeshama, the Pnimius HaNeshama is ba'ofen shel oir v'gilui. Is that somewhat clear? That's the matzev of Zman HaBayis. That's oir. Gentlemen, I need a response. Before what's the word? Prattle on. It's not prattle, but...
Nicht the prattle.
I mean prattling, there's another word. Before I keep on talking to myself is what I meant.
Ramble on.
Ramble, yeah, okay. I mentally talk to myself. Am I talking to you is the question. I am, but are you getting it is the question.
It's not therapy.
Good, so let's, you know what, let's go further and contrast it with etzem and neshama, which he calls koyach, which is the zman al-golos, which means present, but not in a state of oir. What exactly does that mean? That's Anochi Hastir Astir, and yet profoundly present. And that's the mile of Golos. And Koyach is even deeper than Oir. That's coming. When we understand the second matzav, Golos, which is our matzav, maybe we'll appreciate, therefore, Oir, that'll get clearer. So let's proceed. Yesh Koyach HaNasham. And then, now what does he mean by the word Koyach? It's just a word. What does he mean by the word koyach? He's going to say in a moment, we don't mean koyach here the way we often do. Let's go further. Hainu, shepnimius, let's read the next two lines. Shepnimius hanasham be'oifen shel koyach. Not oir, but koyach. Sheklolus inyan koyach, generally koyach means an unarticulated state that could be expressed in many forms, like the potential state. It's there, this koyach, and it could be expressed, invested in this, or in this way, or a different way. That's what we mean by koyach where, not now in this maamar. Here we're talking about the koyach of the etzem and neshama. This is, interestingly, our editors don't give us footnotes. This is discussed at length in other places in Chassidus, and for whatever reason, they chose not to send us anywhere. Don't know why. So let's offer some explanation. What he's saying here is two levels of koyach. So left with three. There's oir, put oir aside now. Within koyach, what did he just say? Just tell me mechanics. What did he just say about koyach? What did he just say now about koyach b'chalal and how we mean it here? Tax your mind a bit. The words are there. What's he saying? That's b'chalal. But here we're talking about koyach the etzem hanasham. No idea? Anything? Will offer any possible insight as to what these cryptic words mean? Okay, so let's try and unpack it a bit. The two levels just mentioned now, again, putting oir aside within koyach. We can appreciate that the etzem and neshama is a deeper level of koyach than the first level of klolus inyan koyach. Yeah, that's number one. So what are these two levels? Klolus inyan koyach is already, we can use a parallel we're familiar with. It's like will, the power of will, of desire, of want, that can be expressed in all kinds of ways. Want what? To make that even clearer, let's make that even clearer. See, you got to tell your friends the best way to understand anything is to try and teach it to somebody else. So, in general, friends, this is an important point to know, which is spoken about. Rotzen, right? We all know it's a very deep, transcendent power of the soul. What is Rotzen? Rotzen is, I want to express myself. I want to be successful. Everybody has that rotzen. Now that can be and is expressed practically in all kinds of ways. Express myself in many ways. To be successful, to survive, to flourish in life. There's millions of things I'm going to do. But it all starts with a pretty articulated will. I want to be successful. I want to express myself. I want to be free. Free means give expression to myself in an unlimited way. So there is already the rotz. I'm calling that koyach now, level 1. And now this will, that I want to be free and express myself and have a successful life and be happy, if you like. I want to be happy. Use that. I could use that in our example as well. So there are lots of things that I'm going to do that are going to make me happy. But what's the starting point? Please tell me. Hit the nail on the head. What are we starting with? What's the koyach level we're starting with here?
Me.
Just said it. The what? What is, there's already an expression of the nefesh. What's that expression? What are you saying there?
Me, Rotzen.
The Rotzoi. He's already articulated a will. I want to live. I want to be successful. It's a very deep, it just drives everybody, everything. Everything you do comes down to this level, Rotzen. You want to exist, you want to live, you want to be successful, you want to be happy. Details and details and details. The Rotzen of his pashtus, I want to express myself. I want to be free. I don't want to live a life in a prison. This is the deepest rotzen of a person. It's freedom, which is why Chassidus quotes often I think it's the chinuch, the Sefer HaChinuch, I think it is, that what? That imprisonment is worse than death. More painful than death. It's worse. A person would what? He's saying if a person objectively would choose death or a life of imprisonment, death. Because imprisonment means cannot express my rotz. I'm there, I am, but I can't express my will in anything. I'm completely beholden to somebody else. That's very deeply painful, the deepest pain. What am I saying? That's koyach sheben the koyach, the level 1 of the neshama. Koyach sheyochel lavei bislapshus b'shenuyim. So we're saying, what is this koyach? Giving an illustration. It's not the only illustration, perhaps the most general one, is the rotzen. What's the rotzen? What does a person want? This deep desire to be successful, to be free, is the best expression of it. Because freedom means to express myself. That's what freedom means. So now what's the deeper level? Shemadu Bekan is the koyach of the etzem neshama. No, having said that, you tell me. So what's this? If it's not rotzen, then what is it? The etzem neshama is, to use the terms we've been using all along, it's not I want, I am. Koyach of the etzem neshama means the expression of I am. Not I want, I am. I am a yid. That's what we mean here by koyach of the etzem neshama. So getting back to the example of a prison, the only way to survive the prison, therefore, is if all your wills have been stripped from you, you have no control over your rotzen. But if a person can tap into that I am a yid here, even, and savor that, like Yidden, like Rabbi Futafas did, then the prison can't break them. Can't do what he wants, but he's a yid. No one can take that away. Even if his wants of Kedusha, he can't do. He wants to put on tefillin, he can't. How did he survive? And come out, not just survived, but ennobled, this beautiful, wonderful man. Because of this we just said now. Is that clear, friends? I need some feedback. You need to think about it. I know, maybe. Not maybe, for sure.
So is this, the Etzem HaNeshama is Dachaf Pnimi? Is this something, this Dachaf Pnimi, this from Etzem HaNeshama is something that it's from us, or is it by default from Hashem because we have a Neshama, so I am? Or is it something that is related to me working on?
So he's saying, Bisman HaBayis, when you work on it, as he goes on to say, then that Etzem HaNeshama will be in a way of oil. But in Zman HaGolos, we don't have the Avodah b'chol v'chol nafshecha. Then it's still present. It's always present. This is the nitzutz cotton burden the Eibush has given to every Jew, period, from the moment you're born or before. And that is Zman HaGolos squeezes out. If we're going to meet the challenge. But not in the way of oil. As he goes on to say, as I just described now, not in the way of oil. But in the way they're describing koyach now, is we just explained the second level, the deeper level of koyach of Etzem HaNeshama. Let's go further, and we'll revisit what I just said now. You'll see what we said here. It's gonna translate it. Or be it between the oil of Etzem HaNeshama and the koyach of the Etzem HaNeshama that we speak now. Not the koyach usually, which is rotzen. That's an open brackets and closed. Done. We're not talking rotzen. Talking the Etzem. Not I want, I am. That's the koyach of the Etzem HaNeshama as opposed to the oil of the Etzem HaNeshama. That's Bisman HaBayis. Let's see inside. Beginning in Adam. So this is Zman HaBayis, when the oid of the Pnimis HaNeshama is begoloi, as a avoid b'oif in the b'chol b'oitcha. So this is the avoid of b'chol b'oitcha, b'limedide v'akbola, without limits. And here's the kvetch now. V'avazun imsheches u'ba b'chol koiches nafshi. It doesn't override the koiches, the conscious faculties of the soul, but it suffuses them, as I explained earlier, even though the conscious faculties of the nefesh can't define it, it's still expressed in them and drives them. As we put it into words earlier. The Etzem HaNeshama fuels the machshava dibur u'maisa b'ofen shel oid v'gilui. Simply means his machshava, dibur, and meiser are all going beyond their natural limits because they're suffused by the Etzem HaNeshama. That's Bisman HaBayis. That's when the Etzem HaNeshama is begiloi and can be seen in his way he learns and in his heart and in his behavior. As we said earlier, the seichel suffused, the seichel recognizes the kedusha. The heart, even though it's ego and I love, but it's the emphasis, I love you, not the I love. The you is not lost in the love. There's the beligvulness, even in the seichel, even in the emotion. And in the machshava, and the dibur, and the maisa. That's what's meant by Gilui of Oid Etzem HaNeshama. When is that? When there's Gilui Likus? Mashenkim is Zman HaGolos, Koyach. Not Koyach as it's spoken generally, but Koyach of Etzem HaNeshama as we speak it here. I'm asleep, as the pasuk says. All these things I'm asleep, dormant. I'm not, no understanding, no feeling. But libi eir, I'm libi eir. So what's left? In a word, what happens in Zman HaGolus is that seichel and midas are ignored because they're not filled. It's overriding it, not suffusing. That's the difference. Overriding, to make it simple for you. Overriding or suffusing. It is suffusing, and when the koyach only, etzem neshama, it overrides. I have a million kashas, and
the molecule Oimen and say
the heart. Let me finish speaking. The heart is pulling me in a different direction because the heart is not filled with the beauty and wonder of Elikos, and Magushim, and Taivus, as he described earlier. He's in a prison, his own prison. But the etzem and neshama, he has a yid as a koyach to override all of that. Simple kabbalas oil mesedes nefesh, and that kabbalas oil mesedes nefesh is unique dafke to Zman HaGolus. That is not oil on etzem and neshama, but koyach etzem and neshama. What do you want to say, Chaim?
Al derech oil, like molecule Oimen, it's tailored for and doesn't overwhelm the koiches. Mashenkin save kolam, Gilead save kolam.
No. It's just etzem. Save of kol almin is that's b'chol nafshecha. That's the abundance in the likus and a certain appreciation of it higher than in koiches pnimim. That's all part of the first gather. Chol v'chol nafshecha mamal and soivev. He b'chol ma'oitcha is the etzem. The difference of b'chol ma'oitcha in Zman HaBayis is that the etzem is oir, it suffuses, and in Zman HaGolus, the etzem simply, it's not even override, nothing to override. There is no seichel, there is no midas. Just pure etzem. As he says, Mesidish Nefesh, she'ein ze mayim dematzev she'oid al shom meir begilui b'chol keiches nafshe. In Zman HaGolus, it's not the matzev. With the oid and the shoma, the essence suffuses his mind and heart and machshava dibur ma'is. Not so. What is the matzev? El sheyesh lehechlet gomor. It's just this deep decision. I'm a yid. It can't be any other way. Limson, he's not inspired. To put it in different words, in Zman HaBayis, he's inspired to go beyond. He's inspired to go beyond, to push his seichel, to push his midas, in machshava dibur ma'isa. In Zman HaGolus, he's not inspired. It's achlota, dry, quote unquote, achlota that comes from the deepest place of the neshama, and that he sticks with this over the protests of his nefesh habahamis and his conscious faculties that are disconnected. He has this decision, limser nafshi al kiddush Hashem, to have mesiras nefesh for the Eibishter mibli habit al zeh, notwithstanding but within himself, he has kashas, halamas v'stedim, v'kushis v'stiris. It's an expression that Rabbi uses often, especially in the early years. Halamas and concealments and coverings and questions and contradictions. He has in his contradictions. Life contradicts you, dear God. And yet he makes the achlot mitzat etzem hanefesh. And that's the mile of Golus, as he goes on to say.